Hello and welcome to Lady Time, a podcast for those of us navigating midlife. I am your host and producer, Carol Fitzpatrick, and I'm delighted to welcome you. This show is a health and wellness show for people in midlife, interviews and stories with people who are in midlife or maybe beyond midlife, and it's to do with your health, your wellness, your spirituality, or whatever is key to this big transformation that we're going through at the moment. I am interviewing Magic Barclay today, and she is the lead practitioner at Wholistic Natural Health Australia and host of the podcast A Magical Life: Health, Wealth and Weight Loss. Magic's life changed when she faced multiple life-threatening conditions and at the same time found herself divorced and raising two children alone. She then decided to find the root cause of her health issues, and that set her on a path of life-changing learning that affected her whole family. Since then, Magic has launched her successful podcast, helped over 1,500 people treat their root cause of illness and create a level of health they thought unreachable. She's been featured in over 100 other worldwide podcasts to share how amazing the human body is when we listen to it. Magic is a master practitioner in immune health, mold toxicity recovery, and PNEI of trauma. Personally, she is a mum of two amazing humans and two gorgeous fur babies, grower of organic food for her family, and a passionate native gardener. Magic's mission is to help people heal naturally, reconnecting to the environment and really reaching their own potential. Magic helps mainly women aged 45 to 65 who feel unheard or misled by mainstream medicine, or anyone who wants to bring their health back to basics. By treating root cause and the systems of the body, not chasing symptoms, reconnecting to the environment and overcoming their past trauma and that of previous generations through healing the PNEI, the psychoneuroendoimmune pathways of the body. Wow. So, welcome, Magic. I love reading out your bio there. You've done so many interesting things, and I just love that you're interested in the root, finding out the root causes and not just the symptoms, looking at the symptoms of illnesses or ailments. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. So it's evening time here and it's early morning for you. Thank you so much for coming on and getting up early and doing the show with me.
My pleasure.
Fantastic. You've taken a different journey in life. You've gone a route of looking at you were quite unwell at a certain point in your life. Were did you have kids early and you just found yourself in a situation where you had to look at what's going on with my health and that brought you on a whole big journey.
Yeah, I had my kids in my mid 20s to late 20s, so not too early. But pretty much as soon as I had them, things started going wrong. And, years of me going to the doctor, something's wrong, something's wrong. I got accused I had Munchausen's. I was told I'm just lazy and need to lose weight, go to the gym more. And mind you, two little kids, a baby and a toddler, and I was going to the gym for 2 hours a day. So I don't know how much more I could have done. And then they were saying, just lower your calories. It's, eat less, move more, you'll lose weight. And I said, no, there's something wrong. And I think it's my thyroid. And, years down the track, I was proven right. There was something wrong with my thyroid. But unfortunately for me, and this is not for everyone, and I'm, not saying don't look at the allopathic medicine model, but I did and I relied on them and I didn't do my own research. And so something that, yes, it was a very serious condition, it was cancer, and they said I had a year to go. Um, I got them to treat it, but now I'm left with more lifelong, life-threatening issues because of what I did with them. And that's merely
Um,
because I didn't understand what the thyroid did. I knew that's what the problem was, but I didn't know how important it was to try and keep my thyroid. I believe modern medicine in that there's certain organs in the body that are expendable and we just take them out and throw them away. Well, that's not the case.
is that what happened?
Yeah.
Did they remove your thyroid?
They took my
No.
whole thyroid. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
The thyroid is part of the endocrine system, isn't it? It produces
it
hormones
is.
that help us. Will you describe it more? Because you know more than I do.
Yeah. So the thyroid is a butterfly-shaped organ now. You can probably see a sort of scar on my neck. This is from a
Yes.
second recent thyroid issue that I've had. So it's a little butterfly organ in your neck, and modern medicine think it can be taken out and thrown away, but it's actually in charge of responding to other organs in your endocrine system and seeking a balance of your hormones. Now, thyroid, we know about thyroid hormones here in Australia. Um, I don't know if it's the same everywhere around the world, but lots of doctors think thyroid hormones are T4, T3, and TSH. But there's also reverse T3, there's T2, there's antibodies, there's a couple of different types of antibodies. So when you go to investigate something might be wrong with your thyroid, certainly here you ask for a thyroid panel and they do three of them instead of like six of them. So that's the starting block of where things go wrong. What your thyroid needs to do is not only look at the thyroid antibodies and hormones, but it also has to talk to your adrenals and your reproductive system, two other major factors in your endocrine system. And they have to look at your testosterone. Yes, women have testosterone too. Your estrogen, your progesterone, your aldosterone, your cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone, it's a stress hormone, it's also a sugar. So then it needs to look at your blood sugars and your cholesterol and your metabolic syndrome. Now, a lot of people with thyroid issues have metabolic syndrome. What does that look like? Well, you can see it on me. Sunken eyes, fluffy looking chin, lots of issues, puffy cheeks, I said sunken eyes, but the droopy eyelids, that's all signs that something is wrong with your endocrine system.
Wow.
And the thyroid is just one part of that, but an integral part.
It really is. And that's so interesting. I didn't realize that Gia had cancer of the thyroid and they've taken it out. Because I've just been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, which is
Yep.
underactive thyroid. And my mom was a couple of years ago. I don't know what she had, but there was an issue with her thyroid and she's also dealing with cancer. So she had some sort of a thing on her thyroid, but they didn't remove it. It went down again, thankfully. But that is fascinating because I actually got very little information when I was told, oh, this is what you have and this is what you have to take. Okay, what is this? I didn't get a response. How long do I have to
Yeah.
take this for? Forever? Oh my gosh. Really? Like
Yeah.
that is
And,
such a
and
big
so
thing.
exactly, Carol. And this is where the problem with the lack of understanding of thyroid comes in. So, yes, you have hypothyroid, underactive thyroid. You have hyperthyroid, overactive thyroid. But did you know that you can switch between the two? And you're actually supposed to do that. So, at the time that you went to the doctor, you were hypo because of all the testing that they did. But if they tested you 2 weeks later, you could have been hyper. And so
Wow.
this was something that was happening to me. I was switching from Hashimoto's disease or Hashimoto's syndrome, which is a hyper, to Graves' disease, which is a hypo, and they're at the extremes. And so I was getting all of the symptomology of both and everything in between. And I printed out a whole list from the internet and I'm just quickly looking at it now and it's symptoms of hypo, symptoms of hyper, symptoms of Hashies and symptoms of Graves. And guess what? There's at least 7 symptoms on each that are the same.
Wow.
So basically, it's your thyroid saying, I am not happy.
Yes.
Fine, we know that, but why? And you
Yes.
mentioned, the family link in women and cancer. And so let's quickly step away from the thyroid for a minute and look at the ovaries and the adrenals. So the ovaries pre-menopause is where you make all of your hormones.
Yes.
Post menopause, you make them from your adrenals and your fat, your body fat. This is why women struggle to lose fat after menopause. And that is because your fat is now an endocrine organ.
Wow.
Okay.
I
And
didn't know
so
that.
the biggest hormone that women have to deal with, not the only one, but the biggest is estrogen. And
Mm.
our estrogen, as we break it down, there's three types of estrogen. So we have one that we chug along nicely pre-menopause using. Then we have one that we use during pregnancy. And then we have one that we use post-menopause. Every time we have to break estrogen down to be able to use it, we have what's called metabolites. And now there's three of those. One of those is particularly cancerous. One of those is nice and, benign, nothing wrong with it. You can break it down, it's easy. And then the other one, obviously, has its own properties. But we're looking at the estrogen metabolite that is usually significant towards a diagnosis of cancers. And so if we look at what the thyroid has to do, and that is channel hormones, send them where they're supposed to be, help break them down, we look at estrogen and the metabolite, which is a big indicator of cancer. And you can see that they're two very linked issues.
Wow. That is fascinating. I had no idea of that. And you're so knowledgeable. I mean, you've been through it yourself as well, and it's your work, it's part of your work as well. So the fat is important then,
The fat
as
is,
an
yeah, the
organ.
fat is important.
Yes.
We're so busy to try and lose weight, and
Yeah.
that's great, but that shouldn't be the goal. What should be the goal is being healthy.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
I'm still a little bit chubby. I'm probably always going to be still a little bit chubby
Magic, you
because I
look
don't have,
amazing. You look amazing,
thank
and
you,
you look so young.
because I don't have my thyroid, my body is going to say, I need to keep you safe. Now, as
Yeah.
long as I'm strong, fit, and healthy, which for the most part I am, I live on a farm, I can lift 20-kilo bags of things pretty easily.
Wow.
And, I have a 5-kilo cat that I'm carrying around pretty much all the time anyway. So, I am strong and I am fit and I am reasonably healthy apart from the issues left post thyroidectomy. But am I a little bit chubby and overweight? Yes. Is that my focus? No. My focus now in my 50s and post menopause is to keep my bone density up. It's to be able to breathe clearly. It's to be able to do things every day outside and move and be able to utilize my body without pain. These are the things that I'm focused on. Do I need to focus on being skinny as a rail? No. Because if I do that, my menopause symptoms will flare up. Now, there's an important link. Women post menopause that try to lose too much weight too quickly will find an increase in hot flashes, night sweats, irritability. Now, what does that sound like? It sounds like a full bout of menopause. Why? Because if you drop too much weight, you no longer have that reservoir to make the hormones that your ovaries are not doing anymore. So there's an
Oh my
important
goodness.
link.
I had
Yeah.
no idea that that's important to have that weight. Well, that's great. I can
Yeah.
stop
I
beating
mean,
myself
I'm
up.
not saying be chubby and eat whatever you want, but be functionally fit. Your
Yes.
size does not indicate your functional fitness. Now,
Yes.
you don't want to be obese or morbidly obese, but being
No.
overweight is not where your focus needs to be. Your functional fitness needs to be the focus. If I tripped over something and landed on the floor, can I get myself up under my own steam, under my own power?
Yes.
If I needed to walk, we do with kilometers here, so I'll talk kilometers,
Yes.
5 kilometers because my car broke down and ran out of petrol. Can I do that without feeling like I'm about to die on the side of the road? If I need to, it's storm season here, outrun a storm, can I do that? For me, my answer is yes. to all of those. If I'm down in my bottom paddock and there's a storm rolling, I know I can run for a short distance through the paddock to get inside on time. Could I
Yes,
do
so
that
they're really
morbidly obese? No.
no,
Can I
yeah.
do that overweight? Definitely.
So yeah, yeah, that's so practical, and you're right. Do I need to walk 5K if my car broke down? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be awful
Yeah.
if you couldn't, and you're right. Very practical and very good advice. So for me, I didn't have symptoms more than like the menopause symptoms. Like I noticed my hair was a bit thinner a couple of years ago. Definitely have the band of weight around my sacral area. But apart from that, I didn't have tiredness or coldness or like nothing out of the ordinary. So when my bloods, I just got my bloods done just to do a checkup, like a annual checkup, and that's what came back. And I was quite surprised because it's so like menopause symptoms. And then I realized so many women have issues with their thyroid and they're in this area in their 50s, their late 40s. And what what can we
Yeah.
do around our life? So diet, you mentioned diet is important and exercise
Yes.
is important. Is there anything else that we should be doing?
Definitely. Look, there's a few things we need to look at. So, diet is one. Eat seasonally. Okay. So,
Right.
here in Australia at the moment, it's summer.
Mm.
There is a fruit which is very good for thyroid health, which is abundantly growing in Australia at the moment, and it's pineapple.
Oh,
If you're in
yes.
an area where it's summer, eat summer fruits, right? Because they have all the vitamins and minerals that your body needs in summer, wherever you are in the world. There is no point in someone, say in the US at the moment, eating a pineapple
Mm.
because it's likely been shipped from somewhere where it's growing. So it's been stored forever and, maybe refrigerated. Maybe it's been injected with preservatives so it can get to the other side of the world. But it's winter in the Northern
Yes.
Hemisphere. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you're eating fruits that are summer fruits from the Southern Hemisphere, you're not getting the right nutrient compounds. Now,
Okay. Yes.
on the flip side, summer here in the Southern Hemisphere, winter in the Northern Hemisphere, if you were to eat beetroots, you would have a very healthy bloodstream. Why? Because they're a winter vegetable. So
Oh, very
Northern
good.
Hemisphere should be eating beetroots at the moment, for example. Here
Great.
in Australia, yes, they'll still grow in summer, but they'll be a little bit harder, not as juicy, not as nutrient filled. So it's
Yes.
not a bad thing to eat here in summer in the southern hemisphere, but it's not ideal. We want to be eating that more over winter. So eat seasonally because nature has a fantastic way of providing vitamins, minerals, and other compounds that your body needs in the
Yes.
season that it's in. And while we're talking seasons, seasons are not only the weather, it is a season of your body. Why
Oh,
is it in
yes. Yes.
winter? Yeah, that
Yes.
we feel we need to eat something heavier and more fulfilling and more nurturing. That it's so good to have a cup of soup and just hold it near us and enjoy just holding the cup. Why? Because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
nurturing, it's winter food. In
Yes.
summer you want something light and breezy and a salad and something lean. Why? Because if you ate something winter like, you'll get hot and stodgy and you'll get tired and so eat in the seasons, but eat in the season of your life. So menopause, what do we want to eat? We need to look at things that provide us nutrients. What do we not want to eat? It's starches, it's things like breads, rolls, pastries, too much pasta. We want to eat more things like rice and we want to cook it and cool it so it's a resistant starch. And that's probably a podcast for a whole nother day, but it helps our small intestine. We're still getting that starch that we crave, but it's providing us nutrients.
And I
So,
looked it up actually. I have this book, I think it's Paul Pritchford, Whole Foods, Healing with Whole Foods. It's like a
yeah,
Bible. I refer to it
yeah,
uh, whenever there's an issue going on with my health or one of my friends or family. And it said fermented rice. And of course, I couldn't find that anywhere, but I guess I have to learn how to do it. But probably what you're saying is like cooked rice, but cooled down. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
So when
great.
my family has a rice dish, I cook it in the morning and then I put it in the fridge. And then when I
Okay.
come home from work, we love fried rice with, all homegrown veggies and eggs and things like that in it. So I will take the rice out of the fridge, cook off what I need to add to it, put my tamari in and then my rice, heat it up in the pan, and we've got fried rice. But I've done the
Yummy.
rice in the morning. So it's now
Okay.
resistant starch to help me.
Okay. So yeah, you're a bit of an expert on many things there. But I know you're really into nature and food. That sounds amazing. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, brilliant. So look at diet, and I know pineapple is really good for digestion, and it's got
Yeah.
great enzymes in it. We don't ever grow pineapples in Ireland, so I don't know
No.
how. But eat them in
But
the summer. We can eat them
yeah,
in the
eat them
summer.
in the summer.
Yeah.
Exactly. So with our thyroid, we're looking at seasons. Our
Yeah.
thyroid will go through seasons as well. And that is because
Okay.
the hormones that we're producing in a season or a stage of our life will change. And our thyroid has to respond accordingly. I mentioned the estrogens before. What happens when we're approaching menopause is our estrogen level drops significantly. So the profile of the hormones that our thyroid now has to deal with will change. Okay. And the reason, I don't know if this is the proper reason, but from everything I've seen through clients and through myself, the reason that I'm coming up with here is we crave sugars and things like that later, where asking our thyroid to go through all these hormones that aren't really hormones. Okay,
Okay.
I mentioned cortisol before, a
Yes.
hormone and a sugar. So it's got a sugar profile. What happens if we increase the amount of sugar we're eating and our thyroid gets into that realm of confusion of, is this a cortisol sugar? Is this a glucose sugar? What's going on? We see the prevalence of metabolic syndrome, which I mentioned before,
Yes.
increase in menopause. We also see the prevalence of response to sugars. As I said, it can trigger menopausal symptoms. You get the hot flash, you get the night sweats, you get the irritability, you get bone pain, you get skin and hair loss. This is all low estrogen issues, but it's also issues when you have high sugars. So,
Yes.
what do you do with your food? Stay away from nasty sugars. Definitely eat seasonal fruits because that fructose can be broken down. It's not going to confuse messages with your endocrine system, but stay away from added sugars. Stay away from high fructose corn syrup. Okay,
Okay.
stay away from seed oils. Stay away from things that are going to do you harm, and give your thyroid a break so it can categorize natural sugars, natural hormones, and a natural balance.
Amazing. Thank you. That is so good. Such good advice. Like I notice myself, if I don't eat gluten, I don't have joint pain. I mean, I had joint pain for a good year and a half, knee pain at nighttime. I don't get it now. If I don't eat gluten, I don't get it. So that's got a lot of sugar. Like wheat would have a lot of bread would have a lot of sugar in it.
It does, but gluten is a protein. Now, it's not really gluten that's the problem here.
Okay.
If you look at glutinous products, so products that contain gluten, it's the way those grains and seeds are farmed. They are
Yes.
sprayed with a lot of
A
poisons,
lot of pesticides.
a lot
Yeah.
of pesticides. That is the problem. It's not really
That's
the gluten. Unfortunately,
yes.
it bonds to the protein, which is gluten. So,
Okay. Yes.
yeah. So,
That
same
makes
with
sense.
milk with casein, it's another protein. Now, it's also has a profile that resembles a sugar, as does gluten. They're not sugars though, they're proteins. So again, we're asking our body to break things down that now have added chemicals,
Mm.
because raw milk, you're not allowed to drink it around the world, right? It's banned.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
it's illegal.
Mm.
Why? Because we need to drink homogenized pasteurized milk, what are we doing? We're isolating the casein instead of in milk, instead of allowing it to be part of a natural chemical profile. We're taking some of those natural chemical reactions out of the milk by pasteurizing and homogenizing. So now casein is the problem. How many people are dairy intolerant, lactose
Yes.
intolerant?
Yeah. So many. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need that protein as well. I mean, I know I'm not vegan, I'm vegetarian. I'm not vegetarian even, I'm pescatarian. But I did reduce milk recently. And I was wondering if that was part of my issues as well. Anyway, enough about me. Tell me about you. How do you manage not having a thyroid? How is it for you to do that? Like, how do you manage with
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
health?
It's a lifelong juggle now, and I
Yes.
wish I knew then what I know now. So, yes, I had cancer. Yes, it was bad. It had gotten into my lymph nodes. If I had managed it the way I manage things now, I still would have lived, but I would still have my thyroid. So, earlier this year, I had a second bout of cancer.
Oh, I'm
Now,
so
if my
sorry.
thyroid had been there, they would have said it was thyroid cancer, but it was actually on the left side of the thyroid bed. So,
Okay.
where the thyroid should have been, it was on the left. It actually sent it like an arm, a cancerous arm, across my neck. I ended up having a huge bulb of infection because my body was trying to fight it, which
Yes.
exploded. So I now have a new scar on my old scar. This time it wasn't surgical. This time it was my body going, get out, get out, get out. And it
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can it be treated naturally? Yes. Is it easy? No.
Mm.
Am I still wary that there's cancerous cells? Yes, of course. I'm not going to stick my head in the sand. I'm not an ostrich.
Yes.
Okay. I'm aware of what's happening in my body, but I caught it quite early and I went to a local doctor and I told her the scans that I wanted written up, that I wanted referrals for. And then she said, do you want me to read the scans? And I said, no, I'm good. Thank you. I can read them myself. And then she
Great.
said, do you want me to send you to a surgeon? I went, no, I'm good. Thank you. I think I know what I'm doing. And, I took myself to the hospital, to the emergency room when the time was right. And sure enough, 2 days later, my neck exploded. I was there. I was getting dressing changes. I was in for 5 days. Could they do anything for me? No. Would I take their painkillers? No. My neck didn't tickle, but no. I had my own stuff with me. I gave them a list of everything I was taking. They didn't know what half of it was. And 5 days later, they said, well, your neck seems pretty clean now. Just keep it clean, go home. And I said, thank you very much. I enjoyed
Wow.
my rest. So, pretty much 5 days I spent in the hospital getting my neck dressings changed regularly, sleeping on and off because obviously it's what my body needed. Then I came home and everything was great. So,
So was it like an abscess that it just
yeah, yeah. My
exploded, as you
body
say?
just
Yeah.
pushed all the junk that it could into this abscess and it just exploded it. I'm getting a scan again next week to see if there's any more
Great. Wow.
signs of the cancer being there. But
Yes.
I was taking some stuff naturally that I can't talk about on air. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what caused my body to push it out. Um,
Great.
would I have done that 10 years ago the first time round if I had known? Definitely. Would I have said to them, you are not touching my thyroid? Definitely. Looking back on all my medical paperwork from 10 years ago, I'm seeing they didn't really address the problem. It was more like, let's just take the organ out, throw it away. And so now I do have to be careful with my hormone balance. And,
Yes.
now I do have to listen to my body. And when I get really tired and I know my blood sugars are up and I know that, my face gets a little bit puffier, I know something's wrong, that imbalance is there, but it's a matter of listening to our bodies. So if the listeners learn one thing from today, and that is listen to your body. Yes, they may
Absolutely.
be medical professionals, and yes, they may have studied this forever, but you're in your body.
Yes.
That's
You're the
pretty much it.
expert of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's great. So what do you take? Herbs, homeopathy, a combination?
a
Yeah.
combination. So I do take some herbs. Some of them I can't mention on air, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do take some herbs which have a history of healing cancers
Great.
or aiding the body to heal, because really it's your body that does the work, it's not the herb. So I do
Yes.
take some things like that. I'm my own guinea pig, my own research bunny, pretty much. So before I ask anyone else to even consider something, and I've never prescribed these herbs because they're still a work in progress in me, I will try these things.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. 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 And you have a lot of research and study and qualifications behind you now. Like this whole,
exactly.
was it your thyroid being taken out? Is that what brought you
That,
to
yeah, that was the
holistic
catalyst.
medicine? Yeah.
Yeah. So most of my family are doctors, believe it or
Okay.
not. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going all red and flush now thinking about it. I'm the black sheep, definitely. So I
well,
was
not
brought up,
really. You're like a
not
doctor and
really,
a
no.
different kind of person.
Side step, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was very much brought up in the doctor says model. And, 10 years ago, that's where I went wrong. I went, well, this is what I've been raised around, so that's what I'll do, and I won't look at anything else. It wasn't till things went wrong that I started looking elsewhere. So, I was very much brought up around allopathic medicine. My grandfather was a compounding pharmacist, and so he
Wow.
knew the power of herbs. And my nana, I remember being little and she'd be like, "Oh, you've got an earache. Here's some oil with some garlic in it. Let's put that in your ear." And I,
Mm.
I was like, how does she use stuff from the kitchen to make me better? I don't get it. Now I get it. That's what I do now. So, you know, both my grandparents knew the power of things that occur naturally. My,
Yes.
excuse me, my grandfather still made and prescribed medicine. Excuse me.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I
Well,
can see the power in both. Yeah.
that's in your blood then. All that,
Yeah. Yeah,
healing
definitely.
and medicine. I mean, you know, one guy I know, he's a doctor, and he would always say, and any doctors I've ever asked about this, they would say that the patient is the healer, is the person that heals. And it is all about balance in lifestyle and health and what you eat and what you,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's all about your lifestyle, really has a lot to do with your health and stress levels and what you're,
100%. Yeah. So
yeah.
this is what holistic health is about. It's about what we eat. It's about what we think. It's about what we
Think.
feel. It's about
Yeah.
what we expose ourselves to. It's about our circle of friends. It's about our family.
Mm.
I'm very clear with my clients. What you say to yourself is what will happen. If
I
you
totally
say,
agree with that.
my
Yes.
back hurts so much, guess what? Your back's going to hurt,
Yeah.
right? Whether there's a reason for it or not, you're going to
Yes.
talk yourself into these problems.
Mm.
If you surround yourself with people that put you down and you take that on as, well, that's okay, that's what your body is going to do, right? It's going to seek a balance that it feels comfortable with.
Yes.
On the flip side, your body has one job, and that is to keep you safe. If that means that you need to be a wallflower in every situation, that's exactly what it will do. Okay, so we need to
Oh,
listen to the cues from our body. How am I safe today? How am I going to allow my body to keep me safe? And this is where it links back to the thyroid, right? So the thyroid is the gatekeeper of the hormones,
yes.
works with the rest of the endocrine system. It works with your adrenals, which will give you the fight,
Fight
flight,
or
freeze,
flight.
fade
Yes.
issue, right? To keep you safe. So you're either going to have a rush of cortisol or a rush of adrenaline
Mm.
when you need it, or you're going to feel sleepy and tired because
Yes.
your body says you're tired, you need to nurture yourself, let's go to sleep. So listen to your body, listen to what it's doing, and ask yourself, am I assisting my body in the best way possible to keep me safe? Because that's its job.
Yes. Yes. I'm a counselor and I do energy healing and coaching. And I totally believe in what you said there, everything you said there. what you say, what you say to yourself is so important. I know I had a client last week and they were talking about they were saying the same thing over and over. I'm not going to say what they're saying, but I'm
Mm.
so, and it was negative. I'm so, I
Mm.
said, is that going around your head all day? It's like, yeah,
Yeah, it
right.
is. It is. Yeah.
Anybody would be miserable if you're
Uh-huh.
telling yourself this negative thing over and over and over. One, you can't stop the momentum if you keep doing it, and two, you're going to feel really, really bad. You have to switch those words for something positive. So we thought of lots of positive words to do the switch and to find things to get us out of the head. But it's such an important thing is what we say and who we surround ourselves with. And I think midlife is also a time to review your friendships and your relationships and
Mm.
go, okay, is that really healthy anymore? We don't think like that in our 20s and 30s, and maybe not our 40s either, because we're so busy with kids and stuff. But it's so important to
It
kind of
is.
audit the
Yes.
relationships because
Yes.
they are really
Exactly.
important to how we feel.
Exactly. Now, I've recently done this.
Mm,
I've always been the person that people go to. I'm the fixer, I'm the doer. Let's have a problem, we'll go to Magic. She'll help us work it out, or she'll help us, full stop.
yes,
I've gotten to the point where the doors are closed, the gate is locked. Don't
yes,
come to me. Sort
yeah,
yourself out. I actually had a friend staying here with me for a while, and I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling anxious and nervous. She wasn't doing anything wrong, but I wasn't feeling good. So I said, it's time you go. You need to go.
yeah,
Do I feel better now? Yes. Are we still
yeah.
friends? Definitely. Always will be.
Oh,
But
good.
I needed to put me first. The front
Yes.
gate is always locked and latched. Why? Not because I'm an antisocial person. I have my moments, but I only want that gate open when I want it open.
Mm.
When I do want people here, I will invite them. Is my
Yes.
gate always open for everyone to come and dump their problems on me? Not now. A year ago, it was. Not now.
So
So
important.
you have
Yeah.
to put yourself first. And we're
Yes.
raised as women to not be selfish. Don't be selfish. We
Yes.
hear that so much, right?
Yeah. Don't have boundaries because
Yeah.
you're
I
selfish.
am saying be
Yeah.
selfish. Put
Yes.
yourself first.
Put yourself first. Put
Yeah,
yourself in
you
the middle.
have to.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can't give from an empty cup. We've heard that so many times. You know,
It's so
I
true.
remember, yeah, I remember seeing a meme ages ago about Japan. These ancient bowls that have big cracks in them. Do they
Yes.
throw them away? No, they fill the crack. It still pours the water. It still pours the milk, whatever. And I went, wow, we have become in the Western world, doesn't matter which hemisphere you're in, which country you're in, we have
Yes.
become such a throwaway society
Mm.
that we now throw ourselves away by giving ourselves too much to people that won't or can't give back. So a lot of
So
people that I've
true.
recently cut out are people that I know if I gave and gave and gave to them, would they give back? No. And there actually was a time earlier this year while I was sick. I had 8 meters of mulch delivered and needed to mulch my gardens, right? My gardens are vegetable gardens, so they feed my family.
Yes.
I put a call out for a working bee. Guess how many people came?
How many?
None,
None.
none, none. It was me and my sons moving the mulch, and we did. And I was sick at the time. I had this huge gash in my neck because my neck had already exploded. And who came? No one. All
Yeah.
the people that I reached out to for the working bee were people that consistently call on me for help.
That's so interesting. That's so
Mm.
interesting. And what a lesson, you know. You're right. Keep
A big lesson. So
that
I
gate
actually spoke to
closed
one of these. Yeah, I spoke
until
to one
you
of these
want to
people.
invite people in again. Yeah, it's so important.
100%. Yeah.
Because
So I spoke to
my,
one of these people on the phone last week,
yes,
and she said, we haven't spoken in forever. And I went, that's right, correct. She goes,
mm,
oh, we need to keep in touch. And I went, do
mm,
we? She said, what's wrong? I said, oh, I remember when I had the working bee earlier this year. She goes, "Oh, I was really busy." And I said, "Yeah, it seems like everyone was really busy. So now I'm busy. What do you want?" And she
Good
said, "Oh, I
woman.
just wanted to ask you something." I said, "No." And I hung up.
Good
Are we still
woman.
friends? Yes, but I'm not going to keep giving and giving and giving unless I can give to myself.
You're so right. You're so good. That's so good to do. And it's a lesson that we learn the hard way a lot of the time.
Yeah, yeah, it
I'm
is.
sorry that that happened, and that must have been hard, like physically hard, but emotionally hard as well. Realizing that you've given so much and they don't give back. I
It
know.
is, but the life lesson
Oh,
gave me more
yes.
than anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's great to see it like that. Yeah, absolutely. My mum was a great giver, and she still is. But there was never boundaries around it. Like I could see her giving all the time out, and people coming, and like the house was like an open house. There was like
Yeah.
people coming all the time. And so that's what I learned. That was my
Hmm.
behavior then. I learned this and it was good until it wasn't. Until until
Exactly.
I was exhausted with the open house and the giving, giving, giving. Then I married someone who's completely different. He's like, no, 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 it's not an open house at all. Because, well, we're just family and
Mm.
there are times when it's open house, but not like my mum's house. And it's been really interesting for me to go, oh yeah, okay, this is so different. It's
Yeah.
hard as well because my natural thing would be, yeah, come on in. It's like, oh, okay, no, I have to learn this. And I have learned it, like you, the hard way.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I still love having people over.
Yes.
But as soon as they get here, I'm really looking forward to when they leave.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is now because I really enjoy my peace and my sanctuary here.
Yes.
That's important for me and it's important for my health. And
Yes.
so, I know that balance between the emotional and the mental and the physical. And so I
Yes.
try and keep the balance. Our
Yeah, it's
thyroid
so
is very
important.
similar. Our
Yes.
thyroid wants to communicate with all these hormones and it wants to do its job, but it also wants to close the gate and say goodbye to people and just chill. And so, what we need to do is provide the background there so our thyroid can be as healthy as it can. And that is, do not introduce, uh, you know, chemicals that are endocrine disruptors or mimic the endocrine system. Try and eat within the season. Try and keep that emotional balance in yourself because your emotional balance, does change your profile of hormones. We know when we get stressed, the cortisol goes up. Remember, it's a hormone. So, really give your thyroid the tools to be healthy. And that starts with how you behave and how you behave for yourself, how you show up every single day for yourself.
I'm getting the picture that thyroid is like the gate of many
Mm,
things. So it's
it
how we
is.
are in our life and it's the endocrine system, but it's also uh what we eat, how we feel, how we treat ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow. I knew very little about the thyroid. Thank you so much. So what's your practice like? What's your clinic like?
So I am fully remote now and fully online. I
Oh,
closed my
great.
clinics during the pandemic because even though I was an essential service, people were too scared to come. So I
Yeah.
was wasting my time and my money. So now I'm fully remote. I only work, maybe 5 hours a day. The rest of the time I'm outside on my farm. Um, I have a lot of native Australian animals here, so I look after them. We're renting at the moment, so I'm really working towards how do I own a farm and have the native animals. I do permaculture, so I grow a lot of
Wow.
food for my family. And yesterday I spent an hour watching ladybugs. I wasn't actually doing anything. I was just watching them being a pervert because they were just in abundance and mating. It's ladybug season here. And so I was getting
Oh,
really excited. Why? Because they're not only beautiful, but they are very dangerous predators to predatory insects that will eat my produce. So
yes.
I was spending an hour reveling in how wonderful the ladybug was. And, that was healthy for me. I was in the sunshine and there was a bit of a breeze. And so, I was really enjoying that. And I knew there was a storm coming today. So enjoyed my time. So that's pretty much what I do. I work around my practice. Um,
Great.
I allocate a certain amount of time and then, I'm out in the fields before and after. So that's what
That's
everything looks like.
amazing. Yeah, that sounds lovely, lovely balance. That's so interesting. My little room that I'm in right now, it's like a tiny little study room, and I do a lot of my work here. Again, if I'm doing remote work, but I get ladybugs in here. That's so funny that you were
It's
talking about them
fantastic. I
because
love them. I think they're amazing.
they come in here and hibernate in this little
Yeah.
room. And one day, I think it was a couple of years ago, I was like, how many are in here? They were coming out. It was a sunny day. They'd been in for the winter, hiding in the curtain, I think, up high.
Yeah.
And there's about 14, 15 of them. They were like coming out. I was like, wow. So I brought them down to the roses, hoping they might
Oh, they'll
eat
eat
the
the
little
aphids.
aphids.
They are
Yeah.
absolutely vicious but beautiful.
Yeah. My kids don't like them, but I think they're gorgeous. Yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous. Well, and your work is you're a functional integrative immuno
Yep.
what
So I
is
work in,
immuno
wrong way.
that's
So
it,
I
immune
work,
reset, mold
yeah,
toxicity. And I know Jill, you did an interview with Jill on the mold. I'm so fascinated with that work.
yeah.
Yeah, so can people from all over the world work with you? If you're working remotely, I
Yes.
presume they can. Yes.
Yes. Yep.
So they
So
get
Zoom,
in
I love Zoom. And not
Zoom.
a paid promotion here at all, but it makes it easy to talk to people around the world.
Yes, it does. I love
Yeah.
Zoom. Yeah, I have it all the time. I'm on it more often than not. So people can contact you through your website.
Hmm.
And what is that? What is that called?
So it's holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. Don't forget the AU. We are in Australia.
Yes.
And it's holistic with a W because we use
Yes.
holism, treat the body as a whole. You'll find a contact us form there, and there's little pop quizzes and things. We'll get in touch with you when we see those, and we do what's called a root cause analysis call. So you get sent, I think at last count it was 19 pages, it may be more now,
Wow.
of a
Very
form,
thorough.
and we want to know your history, and that's also your emotional history, your childhood history, and what's happening now. So once we get that, we do the root cause analysis call. That's all free. And then we give you an idea of where things are at. Sometimes we want to work with you. Sometimes, we shake hands and go, now thanks.
Yes.
It just depends. Yeah.
Yes. So you kind of have a chemistry test, see if you're a fit for somebody or if they're a fit for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we may not be a fit. We may need to refer you to someone else. So, we're very honest and ethical with that. We don't want to just take your money. And, if we're not a right fit for each other, there's no point. We're not going to be able to help you. So, definitely, send us a contact on the website, holisticnaturalhealth.com.au, and we'll get in touch.
Okay, and I'll put that in the show notes. Magic, thank you so much for giving so much of your time and expertise. You're always a delight to listen to and talk to. You've such a vast array of knowledge and you're a beam of sunshine.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely, lovely to meet you online. But it is really nice to meet you. And you've two lovely boys, I think. Is it two boys you have?
Yes, two
Yeah,
boys. We
great.
probably should be getting out of bed pretty soon.
Okay, yeah. Well, you're
Yeah.
you're you're going to be busy there because we rang really early in your morning. And thank you so much for taking the time. And I hope that storm is not too crazy.
So it's gone past while we were talking. So
No
we had a
way.
massive dump of rain and hail, and now it's gone. So
Oh,
thank goodness.
great. And it's summer. Is it summer yet? Are
It's
you in?
summer, yeah. So there's summer storms. So you walk outside, it's 32 degrees, but it's stormy. So it's interesting.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I kind of like summer storms as long as they're not too destructive.
Yeah.
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 Well, keep doing what you're doing. And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time and expertise. I've got so much knowledge. I was even taking notes, even though I can watch this again and listen to this again. But thank you so much. And I really, really appreciate all that you've shared with us today. You have been listening to Carol Fitzpatrick on Lady Time and Magic Barclay from Wholistic Natural Health. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to the next time. Bye for now.